What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Full View. I'm laughing because I just saw KG do the ultimate rush as that intro was playing. He came on, he put on his headphones, he heard the noise, he heard the music, and he was like, it's very impressive, though. Well done, KG. Well done.
Man, wait, hold on. That's good. Listen, being a parent and the school run, and the kids don't give a damn about your rush into antics. But it's all good. I'm here.
It's all good. It's all good. Welcome back to the Full View, guys. Big up to the panel. Big up to Good Vibes, John. Big up to Minna. Big up to KG. Big up to Marcel as well. Oh, have we got a show for you? Yes, we were going to be chatting and debating how we're feeling after the weekend, after yesterday, after the chaos that was Manchester United's FA Cup semi-final victory on penalties against Coventry into the final. But then before we went live, there was quite a few articles going out about Erik ten Hag, about some players, some falling outs as well. So we're going to be getting into all of it here on the Full View. So be honest to strap in, get ready, click the like button, subscribe. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of opinion and we're here for it. What I want to start off with, though, before we get into what the panel's got to say is, again, this story that's come out basically in the last couple of minutes. And it's effectively why the title is Ten Hag on trial. Now, it's not like an on trial like on KG's channel where people are coming up with charges or anything like that. It's on trial legitimately from the incoming technical director, Jason Wilcox, because it's being reported, you can see it right there on the screen, that Jason Wilcox has started work at Carrington today, because effective immediately. He was announced as a new technical director. But because of that, he's going to be doing his job, and that's assessing the Manchester United manager. James Ducker from The Telegraph is reporting that Erik ten Hag will effectively be on trial over the next month as Manchester United's new technical director, Jason Wilcox, conducts an audit of the manager's credentials and dressing room relations before the club makes a final decision on the Dutchman's future. Continues by saying Manchester United have tasked Wilcox for providing a detailed assessment of Ten Hag's strengths and weaknesses and relationship with the squad to better determine whether his approach can fit the overarching style of play and philosophy they intend to pursue. It does say one complicating factor over Ten Hag's future is the feeling that there is no standout candidate available to replace him should Manchester United decide that a change is needed. And there is an acceptance, though, at Manchester United that Ten Hag's situation could become unsustainable should United miss out on Europe entirely, which, of course, is a possibility with we're looking over our shoulders at the likes of Chelsea and others possibly leapfrogging us. Jason Wilcox is also expected to closely appraise Ten Hag's training sessions over the coming weeks. He will also hold extensive talks with the manager, staff, and players during his analysis. Now, also, if you think that Erik ten Hag is accepting what happened yesterday, despite what he's saying in the press conferences, not so much, because it's also been reported by Chris Wheeler that Erik ten Hag is said to have torn in to the Manchester United players in the dressing room after the game against Coventry yesterday. He was furious that United had allowed another game that was under their control to get away from them. So Erik ten Hag effectively on trial. KG's disappeared like a magic trick.
That next news piece, I thought I was going to get through, and that next news piece, I didn't.
Minna, I'll start with you. If he is on trial, what do you think the outcome is going to be of it, Minna? And also, what do you think Jason Wilcox would conclude when he looks at his strengths, his weaknesses, his squad relations, and all of that kind of stuff?
Firstly, guys, smash the like button because that piece came out 20 minutes ago and Owen put together them graphics in 20 minutes. So make sure you hit the like button first and foremost. Secondly, I think he was standing trial regardless of the result yesterday. I think he was standing trial since December, since Ineos knew they were coming in, because they were going to come in and assess the manager. They were going to assess the players' situation, look at the players that they might potentially like. It's not yesterday that they woke up and said, you know what, we need to look at whether Rashford is going to stay. We need to look at whether Erik ten Hag should stay. This is something that's, I think, been in the works for months, and it's just quite easier for media to put this out after the back of yesterday's performance and yesterday's result, because that's going to get you clicks, that's going to get conversation, that's going to get things going. But I've said this time and time again, when Ineos were coming in, before they even officially were announced, I said that if they come in with the idea of changing their CEO, changing the director of football, the recruitment, etc., they will look to maybe change the manager to see if there's a manager that fits the idea of what they're trying to build and the style of football in particular that they might want to play. Now, I hope that Jason Wilcox and whoever else makes the decisions there around Erik ten Hag look at not just what he's put himself in and the problems that he's caused himself, but also the problems that have been brought to him. That is kind of like a domino effect of the issues that United have had this season. I mean, you know, you lot know it's no secret. I'm not fond of Erik ten Hag, but I do accept that there is definitely some contributing factors that is out of his control, that has led to what the season has turned out to be. Now, there's no excuses for United conceding multiple goals in a game in short periods of time. I saw a stat that was saying that they conceded 2 in 2 minutes against Liverpool, 2 in 4 minutes, 2 in 8 minutes, 2 in 2 minutes, 2 in 3 minutes. Like it's been a reoccurring theme throughout the season, and that could be because of multiple reasons. It could be because of, you know, the way that the manager's playing. It could be the manager's philosophy and style of football that's clearly sometimes not working, but also, you know, the players are not capable of making the decisions that professional athletes should be able to make. And, you know, yesterday was an example of that. Wolves a couple of months ago was an example of that. Is Erik ten Hag going to stand trial? Yes, like you said, not in the way that people stand trial on KG's. I would actually prefer that than him standing trial against Wilco.
Charges.
The charges on KG's channel is not going to be like that. But I think it's been something that was happening regardless of whether United was going to turn out to be the shit show that they have been this season. Excuse my language. I think he was going to be assessed. The situation was going to be assessed. They were going to look at, you know, his relationship with players. They were going to look at his personality, his character, his philosophy, his tactics, his recruitment. These are all contributing factors that make a manager or make a coach. So they were going to do it regardless. And I think today was just a good time for them to put out that piece. Now, like I said time and time again, if they're going to change everything, they might as well change the manager. And that way, next year, 2 years, 3 years from now, it will be Ineos that will have to bear the brunt of everything. Because 2 years from now, if Erik ten Hag stays till next season, or he was to get a contract extension because they're keeping him because there's no one else out there, that just means that you're the better of the unattractive bunch in managers that are available. That's not really telling to what you're capable of doing and your coaching expertise. Now, if Erik ten Hag was to stay, and, you know, it continued to be a shit show, Ineos are basically like, oh, well, you know, we haven't completely overhauled the team because we kept the manager from the previous regime. It's, you know, the same argument that people use about players, and oh, we still have players from Jose, and we still have players from LVG, and we still have players from Oli, etc., etc. It will be that same argument. I personally would like just fresh, everything fresh. Everything fresh. CEO, director of football, recruitment, manager, and even some of these players as well, because I'm fed up of some of these players. I'm absolutely fed up. Marcel, you should have chased them down. Instead of chasing down HAG right outside of Wembley Stadium, you should have been chasing the Man United team bus. That's what you should have been doing.
Yeah, I mean, Marcel was on a madness. It's up on the channel at the moment, guys. Yeah, and the sirens are going because Marcel was like criminal outside Wembley. Yeah, what he was doing. The Coventry player, HAG right, was he was in an Uber, and Marcel thought this was the appropriate time to go up to him and give him a bit back because he had given a bit to the United fans. Is that correct, Marcel?
Yeah, man, I have to defend it. I have to defend us, man. He got a bit too confident too early, man. A couple of penalties later, one guy skied it. Good save from Manana. So I had to humble him a little bit, but I can congratulate him on the penalty. He's played all right as well during the game. I think he missed a good key moment as well. Went wide and didn't force a save from Manana. But yeah, man, we got through. Is what it is, man. It's part of the process, this kind of result anyway.
What do you make of that article, Marcel? What do you make of Wilcox coming in? I mean, just to sort of reiterate what I was saying there, he's going to provide a detailed assessment of ten Hag's strengths and his weaknesses, and also, I suppose, his relationship with the squad, and also this determine whether his approach can fit, this is the quote, the overarching style of play and philosophy they intend to pursue. So I suppose the question is, do you think that Ten Hag's overarching style of play and philosophy is aligned with what Ineos intend to pursue?
I think Omar Barada is someone that wants to play, you know, with the 11 footballers in the opposition's half. So that's a start. We need to kind of get a detail as to what their style of football is, Owen, you know, and that once we've got that kind of idea, but that starts with what they've added to the club. You know, Omar Barada is someone that, you know, has come from Man City school, come from Barcelona school. So it's going to be some degree of a possession style of football. I think they had to do this kind of audit in terms of Ten Hag as a person. It's good that the business is getting done now, or the work's been done now. We've got a European competition in the summer, so the business in terms of transfers, players going out and in, or like what Minna's outlaying, a potential manager going out or in has to happen. Do I think it's the right choice to get rid of Erik ten Hag? No way, Jose. It won't make any sense in terms of he's an insurance policy for both Ineos and Manchester United Football Club, in terms of he knows the squad intimately right now. He's dealing with these footballers where the demand is there are 11 footballers in the opposition's half, retain the possession of the football. Can they do it? Right now, that football match exposed certain players for his demands. It exposed certain players for that style of football. You know, it's a really good insight that we've got there from that. If there is a positive to offer to that result, you know, there was a lot of down tooling players. There was a lot of players that couldn't zip in the ball in certain aspects and all these kind of things. And then in terms of how he deals with man management, we can look at this from the standpoint, especially if they keep him on, he needs to learn certain things about his man management style. I think his command of English needs to be a bit better. I'm talking about Eric Ten Hag here. So there's so many things that Wilcox can look from this and maybe try and improve, and maybe look to Ten Hag and say, you need to improve this X, Y, and Z, and do an audit of what's gone on, the mess between the players and certain things. So there's lots of positives in terms of when you keep the manager, how you can add to him, you know, because he's said that he wants this. He's in presses. He's told us there's a lot of work to do currently at Manchester United Football Club. He said that word for word. And adding someone that's got this expertise, best in class, hopefully they can try and add something to him or say, look, you're not doing well in this. Can you take this advice? Can you do this? Can you do that? So it's good. We need to know, you know, somebody, Sir Jim or somebody needs to come out and say, this is the style of football that we want to play, you know, definitively. But now I'm positive in the sense of Ten Hag needs this. You can clearly see it's just him. And that's why that's why lots of impatient fans, because I'm definitely not one of those, but lots of impatient fans are just want to call for one person's head. It doesn't make any sense when you've got a load of down tooling footballers, a load of inadequate footballers with this high risk style of football. You know, I'm excited for the future because Ten Hag needs these people around him to be able to spot the bad eggs as well.
Are they calling for one person's head though? Oh, that would be my kind of pushback to that, because I mean, you look at people's reaction to, say, Marcus Rashford yesterday, even though Bruno scored, once again, the reaction to him, the reaction to someone like even like Rasmus Højlund struggled yesterday, Casemiro. Is it fair to say that people are calling for one person's head, especially when Min has already said, get everyone out, rip it all up?
Yeah, no, it's not fair to say that. And I would say maybe, and I would say maybe. Though. Yeah. And I'm admitting and slowly and as I've just said that, I'm thinking about what you've said there. So I'm just going on what you're saying there. It's like, no, maybe it's not fair to say that. And to a degree, I feel like maybe it's just they're I feel like they're pointing the gun at the wrong direction. They're pointing a higher percentage of the blame in the wrong direction there, and that's why I get that feeling of they want him sacked. But there's so much more work to be done underneath the manager in terms of this squad, and I think what I'm trying to speak to there, Owen, when I say that is that they're going for the easier option of just getting rid of the manager, whereas someone like Marcus Rashford, a hard deal to do, but that work must be done now. I hope Wilcox is part of that. You know, looking at that, you know, they're not just doing the audit on the manager, but looking at someone like Rashford, looking at someone like Maguire, looking at someone at Scott, Wan-Bissaka, if they're good enough. Is Luke Shaw durable enough long enough throughout the season? You know, other players right now. There's so many more. Lindelof, is he going to be the caliber to take us to that next step? You know, in comparison to Chelsea's squad, in comparison to Liverpool's squad, in comparison to City's squad, are those players that I just named good enough? Are they better than those squad's players? You know, and that's the kind of work that we need to be looking at in terms of because at the end of the day, Ten Hag's system, even though we didn't zip the ball quick enough across the pitch, it created 3 goals. You know, and it's the mentality of those humans on the pitch that have let us down there after. And it took us 60 minutes to get to 3 goals. It took them 30 minutes to get to 3 goals. That's a huge what is going on? And by the way, we were attacking their end. Or we were defending their end, or should I say? So you can hear the jeers and the spitting and the hissing from right behind them, and it's like we crumble under that, Owen. We crumble under that demand and that pressure, and people can laugh, but we're real humans. So when people spitting. Are jeering,
it was the spitting that tickled me.
Oh, fair enough. But it's like once you hear that sound of the opposition and all of that, and it's literally split down the middle. We were defending the blue side. And it's like their players just don't have that heart in them. Every time they score a goal, and then we get the ball or we start kickoff. Whoever starts kickoff, it's like our next action is to lose the ball, throw it away. And it's just that, and like what Minna outlaid, many a times this season that's happened. That's not the manager. Many a times the manager's been telling the players, when we concede a goal, calm down, compact. He tries to make changes for it. But it's the players, they don't have that mineral of calmness, steadiness, temperament. They don't have it. And by the way, our manager has an extremely high risk system or style of football where it requires players to have this temperament and management of emotions, and the players don't have it.
There's a poll in the chat at the moment. We've put it in. It's already got over 350 votes, by the way. We've only got 183 likes. So if you haven't already clicked the like button, already over 1,000 people watching. It's going to be a big show.
We'll cheat.
Absolutely. And the question is, will Ten Hag pass Wilcock's trial? At the moment, 53% say no, he won't. 43% say yes, he will. So it's very tight. We'll leave it open. People will continue to vote. Good vibes, John. I'll ask you the same question. Do you think Ten Hag's going to pass that trial, given the criteria that's been outlaid?
Well, before I answer your question, Owen, I gotta speak to Marcel real quick because I saw that video today while I was just watching him rush Haji Wright as he's getting the Uber. And right before that, my man is fighting. He's on his Kevin De Bruyne thing. Let me speak. Let me speak. I don't know what was going on with Marcel. His energy was off the charts. And I honestly, I'm gonna have to give it to him. He was holding his ground. But I'm gonna have to actually step away from Marcel this time a little bit because I feel more and more that this situation with Erik ten Hag is becoming inevitable in terms of meeting its end. And the reason why I feel more and more that way is because even before this whole trial thing came up, I think it's about how Ineos move. And for them, it's how are they going to make the best first impression to the Manchester United fan base? They know that Man United fans are impatient, but they also understand that the changes need to be made. What changes can be made easier? What changes are going to be tougher to make? It's much easier to get rid of a manager than to get rid of players. Everybody knows that. So we've already had plenty of issues with so much players that we've signed on high wages and high fees, and it's hard to get rid of them. For Erik ten Hag, though, however, I think Ineos might be forced to make that move if the football doesn't improve, if we don't get Europe, if whatever. This is Ineos sort of setting themselves up to say, all right, we have these reasons so that when we go out into the public at the season's end, the public will back us when we make whatever decision. You guys know I support Erik ten Hag. You guys know that I feel like the 65 plus injuries, however, God knows how many injuries he's had to deal with. I think that's insane. I feel so bad for the man. I truly do. But when shit hits the fan and everything is just piling up on you, it's just there's no you can't get out of it, you know. And I feel like for Erik ten Hag, it feels more and more that the light is just fading, and I'm concerned for him because I think this feels to me like that next chess piece move before the checkmate, you know, and that's what's concerning.
So just on that, then, good vibes. It's for me, it's a thing where Ineos have come to this club, and the first thing that they've spoken to us about is the thing above the manager. You know, they're on the patient side of this game. They're on the patient game. They've already outlaid to us that look, they've seen this before. They've seen that move before, the checkmate move, 3 or 4 times before, as fans, as distant watchers. And the first thing when they came to us and looked at the chessboard and they said to us, no, we're going to do it different. We're going to wait. We're going to see what happens. We're going to change everything in and around it, everything around the chessboard, the chess pieces, and then we will make the decision whether we're going to make the checkmate move. You know, and that's what's more important right now. We've seen this scenario and this feeling before. We've had this feeling before, good vibes. We've actually been in this situation before. And what they've outlaid and spoken to us about is, look, we're going to change everything out. The color of the chessboard, the pieces, and then we'll look at the player and all those kind of the table. They're changing all the minor details, the 1%. That's
but if you could change the aesthetics, you could change the way the shape is made, you could change all of that. But at the end of the day, it's about how they're moved, and it's about what they do on that pitch, on that board, that makes the effectiveness of it matter. And for me, and look, what you're saying, it holds validity. I'm not rejecting what you're saying there, but I feel that that's just how Ineos are going to move, because this could be. There's a Latin phrase called tabula rasa. It means clean slate. This is an opportunity for them to go fresh. You know what I mean? And I think there's an opportunity for them to make that move in this moment in time. If they don't, right? Let's just say if they don't. Let's say the trial phase is over and Erik ten Hag gets to stay and he holds the job, right? How is it going to be repaired? Because somebody's going to have to be in this mediator role between Erik ten Hag and the players to say, all right, What do you guys have a problem with Erik ten Hag? What do you like? What do you don't like? Ten Hag, what players do you not like? What players do you like? They're going to have to be in that mediator role and try to figure out how they're going to bridge that gap again and try to mend this if they're going to move on with him, like proceed with him. That's not going to be easy.
So did we have this? Everything that you just explained there, did we have that with Ole? Or did we have that with Mourinho, where we had to have an intermediate that's not how it works.
Of course not.
You need the manager there, and the players must follow the decorum at some stage.
You just answered it right there, Marcel.
It's the only way a manager creates the dynasty. It's the only way.
Let Good Vibes speak real quick, because you just answered it right there.
His own players in, his own pieces in, and it grows and it gets better and it upregulates. It's the only way.
I hear that. But my point is when it comes down to, you just said it right there. It doesn't work like that. That's why the buck stops with the manager all the time. It's been that way. Football, it's easier to move on a manager than a player. Look, Marcelo, I don't agree with it. I'm not saying you're saying I want that. I'm just saying from a speculative perspective, that's what I feel. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I want that to happen, because you know how much you and I, you Good Vibes, Marcel, Good Vibes, John. We both out here. We showing love to Ten Hag. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, Good Vibes out. You know what I'm saying?
Let me get to these super chats quick, and then we'll bring in KG. Kishan says this trial is the right decision. The outcome, they'll see these players are frauds. If Erik ten Hag isn't the right guy, then that will be found out. Mr. K has been a member for 6 months. Says Ten Hag's training methods to support this crazy style of play, in my opinion, has led to the massive injury issue. This man catfished me. Tuchel will do better. Abdul says these players and manager are an absolute disgrace. Milan says insurance policies are there to bail you out. Aki's been a member for 2 months. Says Ten Hag should stay for another season, taking us to 2 finals, technically 3, and he's on track to win his 2nd cup. I don't know about that. If he's on track for it, we're doing better than most. Just needs time. Court start says to use an analogy from. Larry says the players Ten Hag inners complain about, i.e. Rashford, Bruno, Cass, they are the ones their manager plays every time and refuses to sub off. The irony. Scar's chosen spokesperson says, preach Marcel, saying it's everyone is a non-committal cop-out. No, it's the players. Show me a fit squad made up entirely of Erik ten Hag players, then judge. I would just say to push back on that, because this is something that I've been accused of, right? And Mina said it earlier on, and I think this is what this is referring to. I don't think saying it's everyone, get everyone out is a cop-out to anything. I think that's the reality. I think it's an oversimplification to say it's 1 point of failure. To say Manchester United's problems on Sunday boiled down to one player or just the players broadly, I think it's just as vague. Because when people say get rid of the players, you go, okay, what players then do you want to get rid of? Are you saying every single one? Then we judge Erik ten Hag. Every single player that wasn't purchased by Ten Hag we get rid of. Then we judge him. Because, again, a fundamental fact of football management is it's very rare you have a squad full of just your players. You're always dealing with past eras. But it's true, Marcel. That's the nature of football management. How many teams... Man City, maybe at this point, because he's been there for a while. Klopp, maybe Arteta, maybe at this point.
That's how it works. You're meant to you start at the beginning with not your guys, but you're meant to believe in him, and then he slowly pulls those ones out, and the weak die. We've seen it. This is a beautiful thing that happened the other day. Even though it hurt, we got to see because people got exposed. We couldn't increase the tempo. We saw the feeling of how Rashford performed. We can see it now, clear as day.
I just feel like this, and this was going to be my wider point with this. I just feel like there are, and I understand mitigating circumstances, injuries and what have you, but there are, particularly for yesterday, I saw a lot of excuses and a lot of people trying to put their head firmly in the sand to justify blowing a 3-0 lead against a championship side at Wembley. And a lot of it just won't wash for me anymore, okay? Injuries be damned. You're 3-0 up at Wembley. That happens. Even this thing of, what do you want Ten Hag to go on the pitch and kick the ball in the back of that and keep the ball for you? That's a ludicrous argument as well. That's ludicrous. I've seen people go, but in the first half, we were 3-0. I missed the point. I missed the point when football was only played over 45 minutes. It's played over 90. We've seen this over the last few months of people going, well, we were winning in the 90th minute against Chelsea and Liverpool and Brentford. But guess what? Football matches last longer than that nowadays. And what was the final result in that game? So I'm not having these excuses. I'm not having the head in the sand mentality trying to justify. I've seen people try to say, but Coventry has scored a lot of goals in the FA Cup this season. what are we talking about here? Like, what are we doing? There's Man United at the end of the day. I'll finish off these super chats because I want to get KG in. Ash says, absolutely no leadership yesterday and for the last 5 years. This team is no different from the Ranić, Ollie, Van Gaal. International says, Bruno and Maguire comments were damning to Eric Ten Hag. Both pointed out how we are in control for 60 minutes. Takes Meno off, second best defensive midfielder for Eriksen. Senseless. Killen says, if we were to get Pep to manage Manchester United and somehow he fails as well, would people still call for a replacement? I want to know what the Eric Ten Hag outers think. Humphrey says, can we list the bad players, please? Sati says, I'm at peace and looking forward to KG's Europa song. Ice Tray says, Wilcox is SDL, by the way. He appreciates technical footballers. Sancho's dossier will be Eric Ten Hag's dagger. I can't wait for Eric to be gone. We don't deserve this. KG, you're the king of trials on your channel and what have you. Yeah. Where do you stand on all of this? I saw yesterday a very defeated man. I was very quiet.
I was defeated.
How are you feeling?
I've got mixed emotions today. I've got mixed emotions. You know me, I'm one of those people that, like, if I'm, when you rep your gang, that's it. And I hate how there's little things I hate. I'm still mad at things, but I'll talk about the things that have been pissing me off recently. Obviously, everyone's like, oh, poor Coventry, they were robbed. That VAR decision about that VAR decision offside. Oh, man, would really have loved to see Coventry there. Bro, nobody wants to see Man United in this final. Guess what? We're there. Yeah, I get it. It's embarrassing. Anthony doing all that stuff. And yeah, the thing that now that there's a nice way to lose. There's a nice way, respectful way to do it. Absolutely stick your fingers up at that crap, because when we lose, every team, they can't wait to do their lovely TikToks, their lovely memes. The teams that we're supposed to be classier. There's a better way to win. No, we're not Man United. That the old school Man United, we're classy, we're better, we're above this. We're not above nothing, bruv. We're firmly in the mud, bro, and we're moving like other mud. Right now, yeah, I've heard everyone come out and the conversation has been, and it's straight, it's a fair conversation. Ten Hag this, Ten Hag that. Again, we moved the situation onto the criminals, bro. The criminals you're telling me right now, we have a situation where if we drop teenagers, we will lose. We'll lose to a championship side. That's what you're telling me right now. We're all sitting here in agreement to say if we drop Garnacho and Kobe, we should lose a game free. We should leak 3 goals. It shouldn't happen. Now, if we lost that game, it has to be Ten Hag out, because I'm sorry, mitigating circumstances altogether, you're not allowed to lose at Wembley to them. You're not allowed. It's simple as that. There's a lot of emotions running, but that's the truth. That part there cannot happen on your watch. Have we seen big losses? Have we seen more embarrassment? Yes. A guy, Mr. Notes, he came on the stream earlier today and he goes, guys, we're acting like this is new. Man United have been living this embarrassing life. There's losses. There's MK Dons. We lost to Huddersfield. We've lost to there's many young boys. We've better squads. We're better players. This has been the history of Man United. And guess what we say? We say, hey, you know what? Let's just get rid of the manager. Let's just get rid of Ollie. Get rid of Jose. And guess what? We're back here again. Because when I was going through, if you even Google it, Man United's most embarrassing losses, bro, if the list is long and it goes back. You're even under Van Gaal. And I'm telling you.
How many of them, though, KG, were in the FA Cup semi-final when they were 3-0 up at Wembley? That would be my only pushback to that.
My thing is, how many of them, how many embarrassing losses have we had throughout managers that we say were better than the one we have now? The same feelings, the same animosity, the same vitriol, all the feelings that we have yesterday, which we forget the trauma sometimes, innit? But we had those feelings then. We had those feelings when Ollie lost 5-0 to Liverpool, or when we lost to Thingy and they said they didn't use no subs and they said they didn't even train. They just came into the game even though they played the game before. We've had these feelings, but guess what? We're going to do this again. It's fine. Right now, to be honest, don't even care what happens. I've got to the stage where I honestly don't care what happens, because I know with this thing, we're going to do the short-term fix. We're going to do that thing when we do a quick diet, and then after, guess what? I don't know, take a couple pictures for OK Magazine and get fat again, bro. That's what we're going to do. We're disgrace. When it comes to that, we have this cycle, and we're going to stay in this cycle forever because these players are not walking out. And when we do get a new guy, I promise you, whoever the new guy is, I'm going to back him. I'm going to stay with this new guy until it gets clipped again. And then guess what? I will be so vexed if we're here again. But the players that we need to get rid of, we're talking about simple matters. Get rid of the manager. Easy be done. Let's try get rid of some of these players and then get rid of the manager. I'll be happy if they say, if I don't know, 8 players get clipped and they say, you know what, Ten Hag, we bought you a new dressing room. We've done everything we can for you. New medical team. Everything's new. And you're not getting anything out of this, you need to sling your rook. I'm happy for that. But I don't want to see Jose survivors in this team. I don't want to see Van Gaal survivors in this team. I don't really kind of want to see Ole survivors. If you're telling me those players, that played yesterday are still going to be here with a new guy, absolutely not. Because it's same players that surrendered 3 goals. Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the left-hand side cannot happen anymore. Rashford playing week in, week out cannot happen anymore. Casemiro, that penalty, criminal, can't happen anymore. Eriksen trying to track back in a game where he's supposed to be the fresher man cannot happen anymore, bro. There's a list. There's a big list. And then guess what? Do you know who we get mad at? Let's talk about players that ran away, and let's talk about Rasmus, because I know everyone wants to ridicule Rasmus for celebrating. The kid's come to a new club. He's taking a penalty, very difficult penalty to take. De Bruyne and them, man, they ran out. Haaland and them, man, they weren't there for the big moment. He said, you know what? I'll take that penalty. I think that's cojones. I think that's something. Let's go with that. Sorry.
Well, I mean, go on, John.
No, I was just pointing to the Hoyland shirt. He's
pointing to the Hoyland. He had his hand up. No, I was going to say, KG, with that though, like doing the thing about, oh, we've had embarrassing defeats in the past. This is kind of my point though. Is that not justifying it? Is that not justifying what happened yesterday? Because it's happened before, so we just
I'm saying we've never done the action has always been the same. We've had embarrassment in the past, and the action is get rid of the manager. But the same guys are here. The same. We know deep down, all of us know, get rid of Ten Hag. Guess who's going to be playing under the new manager? Marcus Rashford. Get rid of Ten Hag. Guess who's going to be playing under the new manager? Bruno Fernandes. Get rid of Thingy. Who's going to be playing? Why? Because it's so hard to get them out. We couldn't even get rid of Maguire, guys. We couldn't. We tried. We done everything we can. We said, Maguire, give me that armband. You can't be here. Still here. We said, McTominay, still agreed. Yeah. We said, McTominay, we would like to see you go. Still here. So my thing is, and even guess what? Even Donny van der Beek, for everything that's happened, he lived his life on the bench. Guess what? He's still going to be here. I'll see you soon. This is the history of Man United, and I understand Wilcox and stuff, but they are under mitigating circumstances. Yes, they want to come in and clean sweep it. It's not that simple, because to do a real clean sweep is to say, you know what? We're going to release some players. We ain't got release money. We ain't got release money to sort out them contracts. So that's the problem. That's the issue that I have.
This was going to be my point then. This is. I'm glad you mentioned some of the players specifically, because this is my thing when people say get rid of the players. Is where's the line then? Where is the line? So you're saying, is it until United get rid of Marcus Rashford, then we judge Erik ten Hag? Until we get rid of Bruno Fernandes, then we judge Erik ten Hag? Can two things not be true at the same time? Can the players be, like you say, be fraudulent and not be good enough and letting the manager down? But can also the manager be failing because he's a football manager and he picks these players that are failing constantly? He doesn't take off Marcus Rashford. The tactics he's trying to implement, he can't implement. Can two things be happening at the same time? Why is it just one?
Two things are right, and I'll try to stop talking. I would love to hear from Minna as well. But in this thing, there's an issue that if you get in a new coach, which everyone is saying we should do, a new coach needs to be empowered. I feel a new coach needs to have a decision to say what players he wants to keep and what players he wants to get rid of. If you're saying, new coach, we don't care what you feel, we're going to quickly clip these players. I'm saying, I'm the coach. I want to make the decision, because guess what? When it comes down to it, guess who loses his job? Mr. Coach here. So I want to make sure, yes, I understand there's a team above me and there's this, that, and the other. I have to run this thing. We've seen what's happened with Poch. a lot of those players are not his team, and he's struggling. They're not his boys. Yes, they bought them for them, and it was billions spent. How good did that billion go? You need to empower whoever's there. So guess what that means? It means a clean slate for a couple players. It means a couple players get, and I don't want that. I would rather this manager clip these guys, and then if they find that you can't get the job done because he's not good enough, clip the manager. But I don't want someone telling me we're gonna restart the system. People talking about, I just want a manager to bring smiles on faces. F that. I'm done with smiles on faces. I want to win titles. I want to win trophies, bro. I don't care about the good feeling and vibes. We've done that. We keep going back and saying, oh, it's so sad and it's so embarrassing. We just want to smile and enjoy football. I don't want to smile and enjoy football. I want to win trophies. Simple.
Mina, thoughts on what KG's saying there?
Like just in general, last week you guys, I said I was defeated in it, so I don't really have much else to say. I do have one thing actually to say, because KG brought it up and Marcel did as well. Marcel mentioned, why is it when United score goals, it's, oh wow, the manager's tactics, and then when we concede goals, it's, oh wow, these players are bozos. The players that were mentioned, the Maguires, the McTominays, I don't think that they should have stayed this season, and it was unfortunate that Eric Ten Hag wasn't able to unload them. He tried to, I think, unload Jadon Sancho as well this summer, but the senior ups weren't looking to get that through. But they're two players that scored yesterday. Maguire came out after the game and did an interview and said he hadn't trained all season, all week. Sorry, he hadn't trained all week leading up to the semi-final, and he didn't want to drop out of the game because that would have meant United would have no centre backs. Why is it that it's always specific players that are mentioned, and I 100% agree they should not play this season. They shouldn't be at United. They're not good enough. But when they do play, why is it so, and they do well enough, why is it so difficult to mention, you know what, they did well today? Harry, like, it's always the same players that always gets mentioned about, oh, we need to get rid of X, Y, Z. We need, the manager needs to have his whole players. And I've said it time and time again. I sympathize with the manager. 60 plus injuries across the season that's no joke. That's not something easy to deal with. And other managers who have had a downfall or a spiraling season haven't had to deal with that many injuries. So I 100% agree. But why is it when United win, it's the manager's excellent tactics, and when United lose, sometimes, most of the time, it's the players? And we could talk about the individual errors that players make. Kobe Mainoo, I think early in the season, he played a back pass, a soft back pass, led to a goal. United ended up losing. No one piled onto him because he's a young player. Of course, I would never encourage that to happen. But there are times where there are errors, and there are times where there are systematic errors that lead to United conceding goals. How many flipping cutbacks have United conceded this season? Is that all individual errors? Is that all individual errors, or is that systematically the plan from the manager is failing? I please, somebody explain that to me, because I am like Owen. I share similar sentiments to KG. Marcel, sorry, bro, I don't share that much similar ideas as you, but I respect your opinions 110%, and you know that. But I think it's kind of like, we're pussyfooting out of the real argument when it comes to, it has to be one or the other. It has to be the manager, or it has to be the players. Everything can be true. And then we can live in a world where everything is true. It is possible. I think what we need to kind of understand is how to hierarchy it, how to rank it, what is more important. And that's why I say I agree with KG, because there's players that have been here: Victor Lindelof, Luke Shaw, the Scott McTominays, Marcus Rashford, who has just rebranded himself after every manager that comes in. He just rebrands. There are so many players that have been here across 3-4 managers. So I understand that sentiment, but please, can we not allow the idea that the manager is blame-free? That's not the case.
Blame-free. He's not. He's not blame-free. Quickly, because there's things that I've seen that is a disgrace, and I was trying to talk about this early this morning. I mentioned the thing when we get into the final third. Me and Owen has seen it, but so many times we don't know what to do. We get into the final third, and the team does not know what to do, and what they'll do is they'll try the eye of the needle thing. Now the manager hasn't stopped that, because we've been doing that all season. That's on the manager. That part there is us getting into the final third, and then Rashford slowing it down, and then we don't play to. We brought in Rasmus Højlund. We don't play to him. That is on the manager. The fact that we don't try to find him. Yes, you can say don't reward them with more minutes. The fact that we've been harsher with players like And I'm not saying that now Sancho's in the right. I'm saying we've been harsher with Jaden and all these different players for not following the tactical instructions. But you let this guy keep going. Now I understand you need to manage a dressing room, and there's only so many battles you can have. Now I'm hoping that when it comes to next season, he knows criminal, I'm not starting you. I'm ready for another high-profile war. And if that means dropping Rashford, even if he has to, I thought Bruno was good yesterday. If that means dropping Bruno, yeah, absolutely.
Oof. Where do I even start to depict what you said there?
I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you this question, Marcel, because it was going to be based literally off what Minna just said there. And I'm really glad Minna brought it up because it's literally what I have written down in front of me here. And I think you're the best person to answer this question. Minna says, and I think this is a really good point. Why is it if it's good? So, for instance, yesterday's a great example of this. First half, it's 3-0 up. That's Ten Hag because it's good. If it's 3-0, it's good. Second half, it's bad, and that's the players. Why is there that distinction? Because that's what it appears to be. If we win a game and there's a positive, that's Erik Ten Hag. If we lose a game, if it's bad, that's not Erik Ten Hag, that's the players. Why is there that distinction? Is there that distinction, or is that a misunderstanding?
I think that's a little bit of a misunderstanding, but I see where it's coming from. But with every single football club, you're set up in the gaze of the manager, and then he doesn't set you up to concede any goals. He has a plan so that you don't concede any goals. So when you concede goals, mistakes have led to those goals. So that's the bit where you throw the most of percentage sometimes on the manager. And then depending on his philosophy of football, on how he wants to set up the game, you have to kind of believe in the way he sets up. So under Pep, it's extremely risky. So you can maybe blame him for trying to play high risk football. You could do that. If we want to all do that, we can go down that road. But we've somehow purchased a manager that wants to play risk football in the opposition's half majority of the game. Pep does it. Ten Hag does it. Arteta does it. So are we going to start blaming him because, we're offering so much space? The game of football, by the way, guys, is about space. There's no way you can cover the whole pitch at all times. So to a degree, you have to risk it. As either you're going to protect your goal and have all the space in behind to run into, or you're going to stay in the opposition's half and have all the space in behind you. The game of football is about space, and time as well. So, and then when we score the goals, you're trying to look for the patterns of play in which the manager set you up within that system. For example, the Scott McTominay goal, there's a deliberate overlap. I agree with KG in the sense of there's not enough beautiful patterns of play when we get to that last line, the forward line, and Højlund's not been able to add himself into the game. Our manager told us that Martial, when we have Martial in the team, this was last season, but that's when we play our best football because Martial is a bit more mature, is a bit more older, even though he should be sold and there's other reasons for that. But if you just try and stay with me in the sense of he's a bit older footballer and knows how to add himself to this system and shape in the forward line. So that's why, Højlund's young. He's a runaround right now. He's just doing the runaround and it's not really helping right now. He's very disjointed from the rest of the team. But I feel like there's percentages on things. I think it's a bit of a misconception. There's percentages, always percentage on things. So I would say when the goals go in, you got to look at what the type of goal is, and how the managers set us up for that particular goal. When we concede, and especially in this particular game, we had a handball. That's not the manager. The manager didn't ask Wan-Bissaka to handball it, guys. We had a block shot looped into the goal. Again, the manager didn't. I think it's Casemiro and Eriksen marking the guy that holds the ball and then passes it across to the guy. The guy has a wild shot and it blocks and loops into the goal. No one's pressing. Like, they want to defend. Like, their temperament is not to go and clamp a man. It's to sit back, jockey, wait for a pass outside the 25-yard. This is the temperament of the humans. The manager's told you to go and step in. That's another thing to do with the players more. The percentage of that is more on the players. And then the second goal, I think, is Sims with the volley. I think Casemiro gives away. They're clearing the ball from the lines instead of playing the build-up. When we go into panic mode, that's not. Is the panic mode the manager? It can't be, guys. It really can't be.
Is there a percentage of that though? You just said percentages. Surely there's a percentage of Erik Ten Hag's blame in that.
Yes, and that's
the answer is yes. Then, so part of it is part of the manager. Then,
yes, yeah. Well, I've said that there's a percentage of it, and then and if you're following what I'm saying, I'm also saying, well, you can blame him maybe for the style of football on which you want to play. you know, because that's the style of football. Like a lot of the players, like whether they're interpreting it the wrong way, again, that's on the player, because he gives. That's why I'm saying to you, I want De Zerbi, because there's no room for interpretation. But with the way Ten Hag's playing, it's like there's 6 and 7 man sometimes into the forward line, and you don't need that many players there because they have the.
Marcel, can I
they
ask you
just want
something
to rush
then?
and attack the ball and attack the space.
Can I ask you something? Because earlier in the stream, you said Umar Barada, but you brought up Umar Barada, and you said that he's playing with 11 men in the opponent's half. So you were kind of alluding to the idea that the way that United are playing is directly from instructions from senior up. But then just now, and in the past, you have also said that Eric Ten Hag is the one that decides the style of play, and you know, with the 5-6 players pressing and vacating. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that, and you said it last week as well, and then now you've just said that's why I want De Zerbi. No, so do you feel like Ten Hag is not able to? Do you feel like Ten Hag is not able to do the job that you feel like you're seeing in front of your eyes, or the idea that Umar Barada, the type of football he wants to play, you think De Zerbi is better suited to it than Eric Ten Hag?
So with Omar Barada, he wants to play possession-based football and risk the space in behind him. He wants the defensive line on the halfway line. Ten Hag wants the defensive line on the halfway line. De Zerbi wants the defensive line, I think, as well on the halfway line. So that's why I'm saying Omar Barada, Ten Hag, De Zerbi, they would all get along. That's all you get as a manager, CEO connection. And then in terms of De Zerbi, like I've mentioned to you before on your channel, it's a thing where he's very systematic. There's no room for interpretation. Whereas sometimes you see a lot of our players, they rush the play too much, or there's so many players in the forward line, and we get counted too many times, I think, under Ten Hag.
Can I ask you a question? With De Zerbi being systematic, is that another word for rigid? Because if we have a guy that comes in, he has a rigid style and he won't change it, no plan B, the fans gonna wait for him to, if it's not working, like,
because that's the same problem with Eric Ten Hag. Everyone's complaining that there's no plan B.
This is it,
and I don't like that. And me personally, guys, I don't like that. So what I'd say the difference is between De Zerbi and Ten Hag, KG, is that in this game you saw Bruno at right back, and sometimes you saw Wan-Bissaka in the midfield, and they kind of switch positions. Under De Zerbi, I don't feel like it's like that. The players know exactly to what centimeter of the grass they should be in at all times. So you on one side, with one manager, you get what I'm trying to call is Dutch football, total football. With the other manager, you get closer to Pep, which is positional based football. There's no room for interpretation of where you need to be when you need to be. So right now in our process with these inadequate footballers, they need to know exactly what blade of grass they should be standing on. That's what I've mentioned to Minna before. Minna should be able to back me on that. Whereas for me, in the long run, KG, you want beautiful football, room for interpretation, like what Ancelotti gives with Real Madrid. Yes, there's a structure and shape, but there's room for interpretation for the footballers. But right now, we have room for interpretation with footballers that are risking too much sometimes, or they get too excited, or do you get what I'm trying to say? They don't offer us enough because they're not good enough footballers. They're not world-class enough footballers to operate this system. But this system, just like that's the similarity what I'm saying with Omar Barada. Omar Barada is from that Barcelona school, the high-risk football school, both in which Ten Hag and De Zerbi understand, is what I'm saying, Minna.
Yo, Marcel, let me ask you a question real quick. You mentioned Wan-Bissaka coming centrally and Bruno Fernandes at right back. What can I ask you why you think that
left back? Sorry, correct.
Yeah, why can I ask you why you think that happened? I just really want to know what you think why that was the case.
Room for interpretation. And what I mean by that is when you're playing total football, however you feel, sometimes you end up in a certain position of the pitch, and then if the other footballer notices that, he takes the spot. Whereas under De Zerbi, for me, it's literally fixed positions and certain areas that you're allowed to operate in. Inadequate footballers operate better under those instructions.
Didn't we try that? Like, and again, if they did announce De Zerbi, I'm gonna back him just the same. If whatever man they announce now, I'm gonna back. Yeah, I don't know what you lot are thinking in terms of.
Can I just quickly cut you there, KG? Imagine we said that last time, bro. If you just rewind what you just said 5 seconds ago, we said that last time. Imagine.
And I've been backing. No, but I've been backing. I said to the community today, John, I know it's your time to talk still. I spoke to the community today and I said, what's really strange is it was between Poch and Ten Hag. when we was looking for a manager. Yeah, there was a Poch group and there was a Ten Hag group. Poch was a puppet of the Glazers. You lot want another puppet. He doesn't know ball. And there was another manager who understands ball. Great manager, great coach, future bound to Man City or Barcelona. In a short space of time, nobody stands by those statements. And we said 3 years. We're at 18 months. And then the other part of the matter, which he says is factual, was a factual truth, is Man United are going to finals. Like, even, I know everyone's resigned and said we have no chance to win. I don't know why we're saying that. Honestly, we're in the game. There is a slim, even if it's a slim chance, there's a chance. I saw Tim Bradley say, what do you call it? Garcia has no chance in beating Haney. Haney, one of the best Mayweather taught. He's learned, he's honed his skills. Garcia was moving like a hostage in many videos in the lead up. Comes in overweight, drinking, bro, and he mashed him up. Sometimes shit happens. Against Liverpool, we had no chance. We had absolutely no chance against Liverpool. Somehow, this is a team that's beaten us 7-0, and all their fans, every time we play them, we talk about it's going to be the sacrificial Sunday. We haven't lost to them since that time. This is somehow we must get ourselves together, because I get it. Like, everyone's against us, yeah? And it's one of those things where when people come against us, I get into siege mentality. I'm like, no, F this. Let's go and win that cup. I don't know why I do this. Maybe it's just programming, but I've had enough, bro. Everyone, the whole world is on us saying, you lot shit, how can you do this? You lot, it's shame where you are. The world wants us to lose, bro. The world wants us to lose. We must win. We must. We have to find a way that we come together on that day against Man City to believe we can get over the line. That's what I'm on. That's what, and if I'm wrong for that,
counter-attacking football, KG. Counter-attacking football.
1 sec, Master. We got loads of super chats to get to. Larry says, Mustard rocking KG is too funny, so a toenail VAR decision is the reason you are still Erik ten Hag in. Not everything else this season. What a man. Ogwa says...
Go back right now. What about that? What about the handball? What about the handball? Let's talk on that, bro. What about the handball? Because you know what? There's rules for everybody else, not for us, brother. And somehow, because we're Man United, we don't need decisions. Man City need those decisions. They get those. They shouldn't need that. 115 charges. Why did they get the benefit? Why did they get the benefit? Nah, it's not a penalty there. No, we need that shit. We're not doing well. Give us everything. Let us play this game fairly. Because we want to talk about that decision. There's no extra minutes if we get the handball. But no, it doesn't matter. We're Man United. We have to get over it. It's fine. Bullshit.
Ogwa says LVG won the FA Cup with 10 men to Crystal Palace. Come on. Olu says, KG, you cannot say because Erik ten Hag does not work out, a new manager would not work out. What if we haven't found the right manager since Ferguson? Nigel says, Owen, my guy. Man United is not prime Man U. It is normal in our time to bottle games. The mentality of a few core players in this squad is cancerous. So yes, it's a struggle for managers. Ogwa also says, please, KG, list the players you want to get rid and tell me which ones Erik ten Hag has made the cornerstone of his team. Please look at the big picture for God's sake. K-Bill says, KG exposing his ball knowledge, comparing anomalies we had against MK Johns and the rest of the and the rest in the past versus our consistently poor performances this season. Thriller says the new manager will do better simply because he will have better people above him, better recruitment. We have been shit for years. Give Eric one more. Larry says, KG, please answer. Do you think your manager wants to get rid of some of the players you want to get rid of, like Rashford you mentioned today? MK says, Marcel, could you explain to us where you are seeing this front football style? Randy says, KG speaking facts and sense. KG got me fired up. Ogwa says, KG. Erik ten Hag got rid of Cristiano Ronaldo, Sancho, and kept Rashford, Bruno, etc. as a core of his team. You think Erik ten Hag sees Bruno and Rashford as problems? Then why does he keep playing them ahead of other options?
I pray he gets rid of that. I pray he takes on that next batch in this next coming season. If he doesn't, he'll lose his job. If he continues, if he sticks with Rashford, he will lose his job.
Good vibe, John. Lee says, how do you think the players feel knowing they will probably be shipped out in the summer? I wouldn't work as hard if I knew I was going to be made redundant. Red Baron says, Martial, you're doing... Marcel. reading. Marcel, you are doing the Lord's work dealing with the patience of these kids. Understand, Marcel, Erik ten Hag outers have already made their mind up. Max says it goes both ways. Some people say it's the players' individual brilliance when we score and say it's Erik ten Hag's poor tactics when we concede. David G says we need to find a way to start Ahmad. False 9. Ugwa says, please stop this medieval analysis from Marcel. Scar's chosen spokesperson says, it's simple, Midder. When individual errors are leading to goals, we blame the players that made the error. If Bruno scores a screamer, no one praises Erik ten Hag. V33 says, De Zerbi, where is Brighton sitting? Cycle repeats. Milan says, Marcel, all your talk is assumptions for the manager. How do you know he sets the team front foot football when we never see it? Facts disagree. Erik ten Hag disagree. He doesn't mind facing multiple shots. Doctor says the miracles he worked last season and we have all forgo, and now we all want him gone. We are a joke of a fan base. You imagine if we were around during Fergie's first 4 years, he would have never made it. Larry says, De Zerbi, Marcel didn't need to have his own players before implementing his style, yet he wants us to wait for Erik ten Hag to get his own players. Larry also says, KG, you said Anthony is the answer to the right-hand side, and now you cuss him out. So people can also change their minds on Ten Hag.
Oh,
Shenanigans.
I'm a bull. I'm like a B-Tech bull knowing guy or whatever they say about me, innit? So I can't be trusted, fam. I spoke to the delegation of great coaches and YouTube compilation and TikTok merchants that told me this is the guy. This is the guy to bring the club forward. Now you're my analysis. Piss off.
Shenanigans says Ralph Rangnick is in talks with Bayern. He'll win it all there, and United fans still won't understand. Ice Tray says haven't lost to our biggest rivals after they embarrassed us 7-0, but no, a couple of draws this season, and we should be content. Fine shame and standards. Suleiman says our last season is actually a curse of finishing third and a cup. Had we finished 6th to 8th place, then the fans would not be bothered today. It's tiring now. Max says the anomalies do starting watching last season. Chalaboy Comics says Marcel is right. Erik ten Hag's style of football encourages and needs problem solvers. Read and react. No strict set pattern a la Ancelotti and Sir Alex Ferguson. De Zerbi is a strict positional manager, e.g. Pep, Louis van Gaal, players running a script. And finally, Court Star says, if we're talking boxing, sub to the Undefeated podcast, of course.
Let's go.
I'm sure someone put up a link in the chat. Then this team has glass jaw. As soon as we get rocked, the game plan is done. Oh, and Lil Yo-Yo says, KG is rattled. Your caramel shirt is nice, bro. By the way, we've got nearly 1,700 people watching, which is fantastic. If you haven't already clicked the like button, we're nearly at 400 likes. Let's see if we can get well past 500. Let's see if we can get to 750, something like that. Lots of opinions, lots of different viewpoints. The poll at the moment's got over 1,000 votes, over 1,100 votes, actually. Will Ten Hag pass Wilcock's trial? At the moment, 54% say no, 46% say yes. Good vibes, John. React to all of that.
Y'all went on for like half an hour. I don't even know where to jump in. I can't even get back in. But I actually found, I guess we'll jump back into what I wanted to talk about before. Was Marcel was talking about the whole left back, Aaron Bissaka moving central, whatnot. And you were talking about how you prefer De Zerbi because you think he has a style of play, or you think he has some sort of rigidness to his implementation of football. I find that so crazy because Erik ten Hag has his own style too, mind you. That idea of Aaron Bissaka tucking it centrally, that didn't start with Aaron Bissaka. We've seen that all season long. We've had left back issues all season long when we had Diogo Dalot, who initially started in that left back role, coming in, inverting, driving in centrally. And what we did to sort of balance that was have our right fullback go as wide as possible. What we saw yesterday, and I was on my stream, I was saying the exact same thing. There was a moment where Anthony receives the ball just on the corner of the 18-yard box, and you see Diogo Dalot, who was kind of sitting centrally, and you see him bombing forward, bombing towards the flank to make that overlapping run. If he's making that run, Anthony needs to play that no matter what. I don't care if it's a 50-50 or 75-25. He needs to play that. But what Anthony does time and time and again, he cuts left, right, drags too many players, and then he loses the ball or he takes a shot. It's too one-dimensional. And when Diogo Dalot, who's been running for 119 minutes, bombs downwards, which is honestly a part of Ten Hag's instructions because they do that consistently, bombing down. if he loses the ball there, we're gonna get hit on the counter no matter what. It's not because we're set up for that. It's because there's an element where some of the players are making decisions that might not be so smart or efficient in that moment of time. So I don't think just because you're seeing Wan-Bissaka in an inverted role in the center of the park doesn't necessarily mean that he has a less less rigid or less structured style of play than De Zerbi.
Yeah. Agree with what you're saying. You've misquoted what I'm saying though. So what I was talking about with Bruno and Wan-Bissaka is positional rotation, total football. In the moments, if you watch the game back, they're playing football and Wan-Bissaka finds himself in central midfield. Bruno occupies the left back position, his old position. What you're talking about is something a little bit different in terms of the tactics. You're talking about Scott McTominay, Dalot's goal, where Garnacho has the ball, there's an overlap coming, and he must deliver that pass. He delivers that pass, and Dalot plays the pass across. By the way, in that game, you saw the 3-2-5 yesterday. By the way, so I hear what you're saying in terms of positional discipline. You saw that today under Ten Hag, but under Ten Hag also is what I'm trying to say to you is there's a total football element where you saw Wan-Bissaka driving with the ball as Bruno's position and you saw Bruno as Wan-Bissaka's position. Under De Zerbi, you will not get that, but you will still get that tactical discipline. You will still see patterns of play. You will feel like De Zerbi's style of football is always counterattacks happen. The way that he operates, they know exactly what to do, when to do, how to do. Whereas under Ten Hag, and by the way, it's not that I want De Zerbi, because in the long run, you want something closer to what Real Madrid has, which is it's up to interpretation because there's so many world-class footballers here. So the decisions that you're talking about, they never make mistakes with those things because they're just world-class. So, but under De Zerbi, you might get closer to Man City's because it's literally a computer. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I don't want to say anymore because I feel like I'm gonna get misquote. I feel like I'm gonna misquote you, so I gotta be careful.
Misquoted.
I do want to just run back what I'm saying. Run back, play it backwards, and you'll see what I'm saying.
I do just want to pivot a little bit. That's not maybe so Ten Hag focused or anything like that. So Chris Wheeler, in his article that he's put out this evening from the Mail, has said a bit about Rasmus Højlund and maybe a bit of a falling out with some players or a lack of service, etc. So he has written, earlier this season, Rasmus Højlund complained that Bruno Fernandes wasn't passing to him enough. Højlund fell out with Diogo Dalot during Manchester United's 4-3 loss versus Copenhagen in November after they scored a late equaliser, and Fernandes sided with Dalot. When Højlund raised his concerns with the coaches, he was told to address them directly with Dalot. It was only when they put it behind them that Fernandes also made peace with Højlund and harmony was restored. Mina, what do you make of that? I mean, I suppose there's a couple of different ways to perceive it. You could argue there's one part of why the coach is not sorting that. They're saying, figure it out between yourselves. Is there concern about maybe Fernandes siding with certain players over others? Is Højlund right that Bruno's not passing to enough? What do you make of when you see that?
Story gets clicks. Something that happened Copenhagen. When's that, guys? October? Was that October? I think that was like October times. Players disagree. Shit happens. If you argue with your siblings, are you going to go to the fucking Daily Mail about it and tell them about it? No. Shit happens. You move on from it. But of course, on the back of, we were talking about this earlier, but on the back of yesterday's result, it's the perfect time to put out pieces and get reactions and all of that stuff. Do I think that there's something wrong with it? Yeah. Did they fix it? Yeah. You move on from it. It is what it is.
Is what it is. KG, thoughts? I mean, you were saying during the match for you, wouldn't you, about the service to Højlund and all that kind of stuff? Do you think it's a bit like what Mina's saying? That, like, yeah, sure, there might be an element of it, but it's just a blown up, wider story.
Oh yeah, they're doing it, bro. I'm telling you, even when you have to listen to what the media are saying, they're like, we would have war and peace. They said or something. I don't know what the saying is, but they couldn't wait for Coventry to go through. That's why they're crying. They're crying about a goal that's been disallowed because it's the rule. He's offside, by the way. If he's offside, he's offside. So it's like, it spoils the magic of the game, bro. I don't want to hear that shit. If it's not legal, it's not legal, bro. I don't know what's going on. Everyone's working them into pretzels to try and make a situation work because guess what? We ruin childhoods. We ruin a lot of people's dreams, and they're salty. They're salty we're still in the cup. My phone was going off. Do you know who's the only ones that we're arguing with right now? Is us. Why? Because we didn't lose. Everyone was waiting, hands rubbing together to see our demise, bro. And they're still waiting. I'm not standing with them, fam. If anyone that I want to listen to is you lot. If you lot tell me you hate the manager, I'm hearing it from you lot. But you see them pricks outside? Absolutely not. And that's why we must win. That's why we must lift the cup just so. Because listen how many times the City scumbag their way to little stupid games and play a nice little game in the final. No one cares. They won the cup. No one now, all of a sudden, let's look at the road to the final. Nah, bruv. Let's look at the road to the final for some of these other teams, bro. Beautiful draws. Now we're finally getting some luck again our way. I'm taking it, bro. Don't care. As long as we lift this cup, I do not care, bro.
Have you responded to the likes of Turkish, Matisse, Don Robbie? Did they call you back afterwards?
No, they didn't. And I said, what happened? I called them. I said, what's going on? Is all the banner finished? I know we embarrassed ourselves, but what happened? I know you said, Don Robbie said, you better not lose this game. Yeah? Bro, where are you? Now it's like, I'm so upset that they spoiled the magic of the cup. You can do one, fam. I don't give a damn about the cup. I just want to win it. I don't care what you think about, is it fair? Is it fair that we keep getting these horrible pens given against us? And then after a couple of days later, we don't write no letters to the FA, but then after they say, I wouldn't have given that if I was still reffing. Piss off, mate.
Before we wrap things up, by the way, we're nearly at 500 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. Before we wrap things up, I just want to go around, get predictions from the panel. Will we win the FA Cup, and where will we finish this season? Because I think they go hand in hand. So, good vibes, Jar. I'll start with you. We're in the final. Do you think we win it? And also, well, actually, I have 3 questions here. 3 questions. Will we win the FA Cup? Where will we finish in the league? And going back to that first question that we started the show off with, will Ten Hag pass Wilcox's trial?
Okay, so let's do this one at a time. It's a lot. Okay, so with respect to winning the FA Cup, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're winning the fucking FA Cup. We're smashing Man City and the FA Cup. Get in the comments right now. We're taking that dub. I'm telling y'all, no. The reason why I believe that is not because I think we have all the quality. It's because every time I say we're gonna win, we fucking lose, and every time I say we're gonna lose, we fucking win. Yeah. So now it's the other way around. I think we're gonna lose, but we're gonna win. So we're gonna win, but we're gonna lose. So we're gonna lose. And then we're gonna win. You feel me?
So we're gonna lose, but that means we're gonna win.
Win. So when we win, we lose, but we're gonna lose when we win. You get me? Quick math. You feel me? Okay.
I hear it.
Question, Owen? My head's gone. You was asking me about the position finish, right? I think we're gonna finish 6th. I think it's already. I think we've already spoiled too much. Yeah. I think it's either 6. If we're really lucky, I think we finish 5th, but probably 6th. This is where I'm at. And you said something about Jason Wilcox. He's going to pass the test?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he will. You like that, Marcel? He's gonna pass it. Yeah, I got Marcel smiling. Yeah.
Mina, what say you?
I think we will win the FA Cup. I'll never sit here and predict United to lose. I've never sat here. You lot know this. I've sat here every week and I say United will win. One thing I will say is though, off the back of last year's FA Cup, City weren't good.
That's right,
City were not good. In finals, Champions League, they just about beat Inter. If it wasn't for that donut up front, sorry, KG, not you, Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah.
Oh shit! If it weren't for Lukaku, they wouldn't have won the final. They would have won the final. I'm just saying, City in finals. It's not
again.
It's not.
Again, man.
Sorry, KG. Sorry, I don't like to do. Sorry, KG. That wasn't nice.
That's fine. Don't worry.
Will he pass the trial? No, I don't think he will. I think they're just using this trial as a cover up for. Basically, they've already got their plans. Where will we finish? I think we'll finish 6th. I think the big decider for finishing 6th will be that Newcastle game. We got Newcastle, I think, 3rd to last game of the season.
In Newcastle, and we got Arsenal as well.
We've got Arsenal and Brighton, but Newcastle are in and around the same area as us in the table. So I think that will be the decider on where we finish. If we lose to Newcastle, I think we finish 7th. If we beat them, we're finishing 6th. Europa League or Conference League.
Marcel?
I've got 4 yeses. I know you asked 3 questions, but I just wanted to speak on the Hoyland thing. Rashford doesn't pass to him enough. So yes, I think Højlund, you know, is in the sense of he doesn't get enough service, and Rashford don't pass to him enough. But you know, similar to what Miller was saying in terms of it was that was the Copenhagen era, and then Højlund does go on to do his goal scoring form and has his purple patch. So something must have been resolved. We finished 5th place. Do we win the FA Cup if he plays counter-attacking football similar to what he played at the Etihad? Yes. If he tries to go, machine for machine, then no. But if he does, so there's an avenue to win. So yes, I would say. And then what was the last one? And does he pass the trial? Yes, he does. In Ten Hag, we trust the process, guys. There's nothing. We have to support them when it's ugly, and you have to support them when it's good. And this is part when it's ugly. We were never going to win every single game or have the trajectory never goes like this. It just never does, guys. Wake up, take your breaths, have some patience, like our manager does, and it will come good. I'm telling you, it will come good. And next season, it will show. So he will pass this. And hopefully they're doing a proper, thorough audit, including the players first.
KG?
Will we win? Will we beat Man City? We must. That's all. I don't know if we... I honestly don't know. But we must. That's all that's all our season depends on. We must beat them. These are our biggest rivals. We owe them one. We owed. You know how we said I was waiting for Liverpool in the FA Cup, and I was like, I need Liverpool. Bring me Liverpool. I want revenge for the 7-0, and it'll be even greater because they're getting because their manager's going. And what did they call me in the chat? You crazy guy! How dare you want one of the greatest teams assembled and all this other stuff? The team chasing the quadruple and all that crap. Yeah, and guess what happened? Scumbagged our way, but we got it done somehow. Again, this team, City, I would absolutely love it, thoroughly enjoy it. Let's go. Let the boys be ready. I hope they're listening to this right now because they listen to social media. Listen to this part. You owe it to us. You didn't go and celebrate with Rasmus because you're embarrassed. Well, do something about that embarrassment in the final. Simple as that. Will he pass the trial? I believe so because they can see what kind of he's very clear in terms of Jason being that close to him will understand what Ten Hag's all about. Where are we finish in the league? 7th.
Interesting. I think if I had to predict, I mean, I get what Minna says with all this. All the predictions, you always predict United to win. I'll do a head and a heart one. My head says absolutely no chance. My heart says on the day, magic of the FA Cup, you never know. Maybe United get a bit lucky. As far as where we finish, I'm gonna go with 7th.
Yeah, that feels
but we got to win a game in the Premier League. We haven't won one in a while. In the Premier League. I know exactly. So if we don't put it this way, if we don't beat Sheffield United,
that means it's gonna be a win easy, no matter what. Exactly. I love that energy.
Exactly. And will he pass the trial? I don't think so. I think, like Minna said, I think the trial's a bit of a sham. I think they've made their mind up quite a long time ago, actually. Very quickly, the super chats here. Suleiman says, don't worry, Marcel and KG, the reckless delegation are behind you. KKM says, big up UV family. Yesterday's result actually felt like a loss, but we take the wins we get. PS, when can we get some UV merch? # summer is coming. Stay tuned. Lots of people saying they like KG's hat. That's all I'm saying. Shenanigans says, Siren's in the chat, of course. Pep made 20 signings in 18 months, 15 of 25 here before Ten Hag. Of the 10, 2 are keepers, 3 long-term injuries, 4 free/loans. We keep cheating the rebuild. Kadeen says, can I see a backup for Marcel on Sahi TV, please? Red Baron says, Jermaine Genius said about the City Grealish handball, it touches his hand, but it's not handball. This is the intelligence of punditry we have, folks. Chalaboy Comics says, our players are simply not smart enough to play freedom ball. Marcel was arguing De Zerbi's rigid script will allow shit players to cope better. For me, I hate the over-rigid JDP, so would prefer Ten Hag. K Mills says, difficult to add context in a small super chat. Getting outplayed by relegation fodder. Coventry, Newport has been commonplace this year. Despite us going through a shit period, we never were this bad in the Premier League era. And Jazzdeep says, you assess a manager on whether they give the team the best chance of winning through their actions. You can measure their performance long before they produce the finished article. Well, there you go, guys. Big show, full of opinion, full of lots of different viewpoints. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. What's on tap for tomorrow? We've got obviously the morning show. There's going to be a preview tomorrow. for the Sheffield United game, Flex and KG show as well at 7 p.m. too. So that's all to come. Big up to the panel, big up to Good Vibes John, big up to Minna, big up to KG, big up to Marcel. I think near enough everyone, apart from Marcel. Marcel's got to get on the channel thing. He's got to get his own channel so we can all plug that. Go over to see Marcel's views. But everyone else has got their channels, Good Vibes John, Minna, and KG. So be sure to subscribe to them. Anyway, guys, we're out of here and we'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.